real people, and we're not here to be fake and phony, right? We're always here, real talk, giving a real vibration, and we're all learning. You're learning, I'm learning, we're all learning. But the money game, man, most people don't even know that most people don't know about money. Majority of the masses, 98% of us as people in the community, we don't understand the game. So, I don't want you ever to think it's you or just me it's all of us as a whole, man. Majority of us don't understand the game, and that's why we must learn the game, right?
I kind of think I hold a unique, well, not unique. I hold a shared perspective that it's not necessarily that money's a good or a bad thing. It's just that there's components to how to move it around and use it that you gain either through knowledge or direct experience. And a lot of the times I haven't had the experience or the knowledge. It's kind of like I just go into these situations and figure it out. Like, I mean, I went to college and I got an education, but once you get out into the real world and you have to start to manage your pocketbook, and it's so much more than that. I really want to get into that today. How we can bridge this idea of it being billfolds and what you're worth to figuring out how to utilize it to manifest what you want. And I want to utilize this information to start to look at it a little differently from an inspiring perspective, because there's so much attached to money right now that it's just become muddy. So let's lay it down. We talked about it last week, which was a good foundation to understand kind of, how the game works and what it is and where it operates. But this week, I'm really interested in you sharing with us how to change at least my mind. So, my thing is thoughts, like how to change my mind about the way I've been thinking and the way I've been taught to think, so that I can channel my thoughts turn them into ideas that are going to work for me, that are going to support who I am and what it is that I want and how I want to live my life moving forward.
I think most of us, Coach D, and when you think about earning power, right? What is earning power? It's our ability to generate income, to generate revenue, to generate cash flow, the ability to earn the power we have. The fact that none of us are ever taught how to maximize this power, therefore, our power is tied to time. And when we have limited time, we have limited earning power, right? You think about it as in an entrepreneurial mindset, a business owner mindset, and someone who works for an organization and an employee. There's nothing wrong with either one of those. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or if you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner. As long as you're happy and you feel you're doing what you need to do for your family and yourself, then you feel you're living in the place that you want to live in, as in the mental aspect of what you're doing, then there's nothing wrong with that. But there's limitations when people don't understand that time caps the money, the earning power. So what happens when they don't have the ability to earn what they need to earn? What does that do to the psychology and the mindset? How does that inspire someone to even want to think about money when they know no matter what happens, their money is capped based on the time, based on what they're paid, right? Based on their ability. When someone's given an hourly wage or a salary, it doesn't matter how much maximum effort they give, their income's not going to change. That money's not going to change.
Right.
What kind of impact you think that has to the thought, the psychological aspect of wanting to learn more about money?
There's a lot. And I think we need to reframe our ideas about how to move towards it. Because as I'm sitting here listening to you say these things, like there's part of me that's like anxiety just hearing you talk about this stuff, because like all these ideas about what everybody else.
Your armpits are sweating. I see it. I'm just kidding. I see. Bro, don't sweat. Don't sweat. We just talking about money. Don't sweat.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I digress. Just overall, I think there's value in some principles about a framework at this point. So once we can educate ourselves, myself, about how to manipulate this resource, I can start to see how I can be inspired to create with that. Because when it's muddy like this, and then what's going on with the world, I think it's a good opportunity for us to have different thoughts and change those into better emotions. And I want to lean on you right now with some strategy, if you would, about how I might be able to go do that and change my thoughts and give me some X's and O's, man. I need a playbook. Let's hear what you got.
I got a question first. Can I challenge you?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I would encourage us to replace manipulate with influence, right? When you think about manipulation, I don't care how we spin it, it's not positive.
It's in there. It's in there. I didn't even.
You're right. Yeah. So whenever we want to, if something's being manipulated, right, it's not looked at in.
No, it's not real good.
No. So, but we want to use with influence, right? How we want to influence our mindset and how we want to influence the aspect of money and how we want to influence. So I just want to share that vibration with you and consider that in your thought there. But when it comes to the earning power, man, right? Thinking about it here, where are we at today? Today is August 20th, 2020, right? August 2020. 8/20/2020 today. And what's happening right now is a global pandemic. Some people are going through a pandemic and some people are going through a paydemic right now. I'm going to say that again. Some people are going through a pandemic right now and some people are going through a paydemic right now. There's some people who have pivoted to panic and some people have pivoted to prosperity right now. You know why? Because some people are in a position where they have earning power in this pandemic, which is creating a paydemic. See, there's other people, majority of the masses, who were caught off guard, bam, like a freight train just hit us. We weren't in a position to earn. We didn't have enough money stored and saved. The earnings stopped, but the bills kept coming. The earnings stopped, but the expenses kept coming. So right now you think about earning power, how many people out there, what they said, it was like 45, 50 million people who are unemployed. Wow. Right? What happens to the earning power when so many people are out of work and transitioning? It's the reason that this impact that we've had in this global pandemic is really not the COVID reflection. It's the impact of it. It's the fear. It's what's been happening to the money. What did COVID reflection do to the money game, man?
Jamar, this is all stressing me out. I'm stressed out.
No,
like, dude,
man.
I don't know, bro. Like I'm looking at all this.
Breathe.
So no, I'm being dramatic, but I think that everybody's being dramatic. I think that all of this stuff.
Hi, Debbie.
Hey, Debbie Padilla. Hey, listen, if you guys ever need anybody to show you a home, this is the lady to do it.
Debbie, we love you.
Cool in a way that words can't describe. Thanks for joining. Hi, Debbie. So anyway, Jamar, I just feel like there's all this anxiety associated with all this stuff. And from people coming from a perspective where we haven't even, laid a platform or maybe you did lay a platform and it didn't work out. And now you're trying to figure out where to go with it and how to understand this game that you're talking about. And all these things that you're saying, it's so important to be able to absorb it. But coming from this anxietal perspective, I mean, plain and simple, income. What do we have here? Income versus expenses. Okay, so I have hardly any income. I have all these expenses, and I want to do what I love. What do I do in the middle of this chaotic scenario? I find it inspiration to me. Mm-hmm. In the middle of all of this is, where's the thought? Where's the thought that's going to turn into an emotion that I'm going to be happy about? That I'm going to get excited about.
Coach D, on this note, can you share with the vested community before we hit on this black and red about your specific personal situation and position you're in when it comes to being able to create money and not put yourself in a challenging situation when it comes to resources and financial aid to live your life?
Okay, as I've told the community before, I had an accident. I lived my life in a wheelchair, for those of you that don't know. So being a quadriplegic has its challenges physically, mentally, and emotionally. But when it comes to finances, I'm extraordinarily grateful for the help that I receive from our government, because if it wasn't for that, I don't know what I'd do. But the way the system is currently set up, it's strange because there's this weird gap. So for me and my wife, we can only make so much money. And the minute we bump above that amount of money, we lose our financial support from the government. And it puts you in this strange situation. So let's just say, okay, if we make $3,000 a month, that's fine. But the minute we make 4, we lose our resources. So the resources cover the care, but now all of a sudden we'd be needing to make the money that we would make would have to now go and be allocated towards our help. And we'd be in the same position, maybe even worse than we were with the assistance before. So to try to find this weird balance about how to move forward when you're in this weird pocket. I mean, if we made 150 grand a year, then fine. And I think we can do that. And I plan on doing that. But from here to there, there's this weird gap that not only is it very real, but it puts a mental and an emotional chokehold on what we can experience. And, you know, Rebecca and I have this really good plan, and we want to share our lives and the way we think and feel with everybody else. But to get there, you obviously need the fuel of money to be able to pay your bills. So you have these expenses and you have this passion and this drive, but to get it from 30 grand a year to 150 grand a year, you know, so this is a real situation. Everybody in wheelchairs or disabilities are currently dealing with.
Hey, Coach G, I want to hear you say, when I make 150 grand a year.
Well, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to cap myself, Jamar. I'd like to make a lot more money than that, and I plan to.
But I'm just saying, like, we're speaking that into existence.
Yes, sir. I plan on experiencing an abundant success that is so full of what I want to experience in this life, that money will be an abundant part of it as well. So I don't want to put a number on it, but I just think that those resources will fall into place when I need them to, and I have faith in that. So.
Hey, man, we got to make 150 before we make 250. When I make 150 grand a year, Coach D.
When I make 150 grand a year,
yeah, I will
baby. Next 3 quarters.
That's what I'm talking about,
sir.
Man.
Yeah, you know what? No more struggle. Surrender involves learning, but at the same time, it involves an abundance that is on the other side of faith, extreme, and I'm ready to experience that. And I think I had to peel back all the layers of the onion that are what we're talking about today. When you have those thoughts, even with the simple word in your head, whether you're conscious or unconscious of it, they create emotions and feelings. And even if they don't, it's in your head already. So you're going to have to sift through that stuff to get to the good thoughts. So as we move through this strategy about how to learn how we can utilize this money, this energy of money, I think we'll have a different perspective. And I think that when we do, coming together and being able to join forces with other people will be a little bit easier. So, Jamar, I want to move into this creation aspect of where we're going to go with this money idea and get into the idea of money as energy. You and I have had a conversation before about it, and the way you tend to think supports a different understanding than most people. And when you say money as energy, I'm sure plenty of people have different ideas about that, and I want to hear yours. So let me fire away. There's a lesson number 2. How are we going to be creative about how we move through this money game?
You know, you think about that thought, and you think about what our tech team just put up there. Tech team, can you put that abundance message back up on the screen for us? When you think about the energy aspect of money, like, what does that mean? Energy, the transfer of energy. Abundance is the natural order of life. Abundance is energy. Having an abundance mindset. When we understand the psychology of abundance, never ending money, and that there's enough for all of us, that's the energy of money. See, once you understand that money will continue to flow, money will always flow because it's energy. But if we have a scarcity mindset, if we believe that we got to hold on to every penny, that it's never going to come again, that we can't lose it. We can't even, we hold it so tight that we can't even give. right? That's not understanding money is energy. You know, money comes and money flows. Money comes to us and it flows. And so we plant that seed of money is energy, I really want us to understand the abundance aspect of the concept. That if we, you, me, us, vested community, the world, if we truly believe that money was an endless flow, that it was energy that just flows to us, then we're gonna manifest it. We're gonna create it. We're gonna embody it. That is the money is energy. But if someone doesn't understand this aspect of it and is always looking at it from the lack of perspective or the not enough perspective, instead of living in the land of more than enough perspective, it's going to be hard to tie that concept together and truly believe that money is energy. You know, money is part of the flow that will come, and money will always come, man. It will always come. It will always come. And when we come to a place of leading a mission, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whether we're solving a problem, or we're doing something, whatever that mission is, when we lead with the mission, the commission has to follow. Money has to follow value. Money has no choice but to follow value.
Okay, hold on, because I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine earlier today by the name of Harry.
Hey, Harry.
He brought up this idea that is a concept that exists in our culture, that money, I mean, at some point or another, you've heard this, that money is the root of all evil. So if we think that way, how are we going to be a part of an abundant flow? So if it's not the root of all evil, then what is money the root of, Jamar?
You ever hear that? Like they said? You ever hear people say, you know, they said this and they said that, and they. The money is the root of all evil. Evil is a they. Like that's a they said. That's something that we embrace as society as a weak, limiting, defeated thought. Money is not the root of all evil. We are the root of all evil. People, right?
Well, we like to blame other things, man. It's easier.
Well, you look at
me, it's the money, man.
You know, the money. There's nothing wrong. We talked about this last week. What is money? So if you look at this book, right? Boom, how money works. And even though this is a sucker that they have on the cover, look at it as a magnifying glass. Like if you visualize the same, like magnifying glass. Money is a magnifier. Money just magnifies who we truly are inside our spirit.
Okay. Why is guilt associated with having money then? Why do you get these CEOs that can't even enjoy all the hard work that they put in when they build this massive company that starts in their garage, and all of a sudden they make millions and they feel guilty about what they do with it? What's that?
Well, now we're jumping into the money doesn't equal happiness, right? But however, the lack of money will affect your happiness. Just because someone understands abundance, someone understands energy, someone has unlimited cash flow doesn't mean that makes a person happy or feel that they are living their purpose. That money and living our purpose is not tied together. Money is just a tool and a resource. That's all it is. So
what's the guilt? Where's the guilt come from? Why do I feel guilty if I have all this money and I want to buy a friggin' street block if I want?
Because they told you to feel away. Because society has ingrained it in our mind that it's wrong to have money. Society has ingrained it in our mind that rich people are evil. Now, no, there's the good and the bad and the ugly of everything. There's the good, the bad, and ugly of a poor person. Yeah. There's the good and the bad and ugly of middle class. There's the good and the bad and ugly of wealthy class. It's not the money. It's we as people. We're the issue. We are the issue. Money is not the issue. And so when we are taught that money is evil, that it's wrong to be wealthy, that it's wrong to be rich, that it's wrong to have abundance, that is the they said, society said, they said. That's ingrained a weak neurological pathway that's been created into our brain to embrace lack, to embrace being ordinary, to embrace being average. Because they said.
Man. All right, but before we move on to empowerment and how we're going to money creating happiness or not creating happiness, how can we utilize the energy of money from this different perspective as we think about it differently, as we entertain different thoughts, and these thoughts actually feel good? We look at it and we go, wait a minute, abundance, that's awesome. I want to feel abundance. You mean to tell me I can utilize money to create abundance? Everybody's always they told me all this other stuff. What about me? What can I do to create with this energy? How can I do that? What's the nugget here, Jamar? What do you want to give the people that don't know yet to take away from this? How are you going to use that energy?
Well, when we talk about next week, when we wrap up this series and we talk about the how to, we're going to cover some of that. But the very first step, the reason why we keep talking about How Money Works by Steve Siebold, amazing book here, is because we first must seek to understand before we're understood, right? Like we have to understand the game. Like that is the very first step that we can take. How can we master something? How can we become great at something? How can we improve in something if we don't understand it? How do we do it?
Well, look, man, I'm a belief strategist. I coined myself as that because I help people believe in ideas and ways to unlock hidden potential within themselves. I want to know how to be empowered by the idea of money because I have this, mindfulness idea that moves towards awareness and purpose, but money is a lifeblood. And if I'm going to inspire people and help coach people to empower them in their own lives, I want to be able to not only have their mind, their thoughts, their emotions fired up, but I want to have this energy flow like you're talking about to be involved as well, because a lot of the times money is a major factor in why people think they're not happy. And what you're saying is that it's the ideas about what money is, or what they told us money is, or what the ideas that we've accepted. So let's get into happiness a little bit, because when you talk about money and happiness, most people equate it with things. And from what I understand you saying, you're not exactly doing that. It's more along the lines of energy to be able to manifest opportunities. So let's get into that a little bit.
Right. And when you talk about happiness, and we're talking about understanding the first step, right? Of what is the first step of just understanding in general before we even get to the happiness, right? So Coach D, think about this. If there's something that's interesting to us in our lives, if there's something that we want to seek out and learn, then there's nothing that's going to stop us from learning. Once we as people, we have so much. We have unlimited ability to focus when we want to focus. So the first step to understanding is making that decision to say, hey, I truly want to understand this. The first step is making the decision. Once we make a decision to embark on the journey to learn whatever it is, we're going to do it. And then with the happiness part, Coach D, the happiness part, that has to come from within.
Well,
happiness doesn't come from money. Man, how many times do we hear stories of someone who's very successful, very significant, very wealthy, and they're battling depression, they're battling alcoholism, they're battling infidelity, they're battling whatever it is, they're battling all these internal forces. It's not the money. And so when we as people, when we seek happiness from money, that's going to create even a bigger void for us, because we will never, ever be able to touch the happiness when we're trying to touch it with the money. Man, I like nice things.
Yeah.
That's how I like nice things. And I know in order to have nice things that I need to be able to have the money to get the nice things. My daughter, she just turned 10 August 12th. I love you, beauty. We got her, there's an amazing company called Greenlight. Greenlight it's an app, and it's for children. So I have the app downloaded on my phone. Greenlight, we send a picture of my daughter to Greenlight, And Greenlight mailed my daughter her own debit card. She's had her own debit card for about a year now or so. She has her picture on it and she can only use it as a debit card. And then she's able to track her money through the app. She can save money, she can spend money, and she can give money. And so that right there empowers her. It makes her feel good knowing that she's learning the money game. And when she
Teach
wants
her the
to,
game, baby. Teach her the game.
it's the game. It's the game. And when she's ready to buy something, she's like, "Wait, Daddy, okay, how much money do I have? Like, okay, what am I gonna do?" And then when she works, she does chores or she does something to earn money. She now is looking at it in such a totally different way because she knows that's her money. We're empowering her, but at the same time, the money is not what brings her happiness. That's what we communicate. It's not the money that makes her happy. The happiness comes from inside her spirit, inside her heart. The money is just an enhancer, right? So when we look at the money, as long as we have the right perspective, keep our feet on the ground, stay humble, but we can still reach for the stars. Just keeping the feet humble and grounded and reaching for the stars. There's nothing wrong with that. And so the happiness has to come. It can only come from within. It can't come from any external forces. I believe we as people, we have the ability to enhance the happiness of other people. Money has the ability to enhance our happiness, but money cannot make us happy.
Listen, Jamar, this is good because what I've gone through in my lifetime and where I come from that offers a different perspective is I hit a certain point in my life where I was on a path that supposedly in America should equal happiness. You go to high school, you go to college, you graduate college, you get a job, and everything lined up that was going to happen. And then when it didn't, I was, at least financially, against a wall that it seemed impossible. And anybody that's going through a life of disability, I feel you, man, because it's difficult. But what I had to learn how to do is isolate my thoughts and turn them into emotions that made life worth living to keep myself from drowning. Because there was a time where when I looked at what I once had and what I thought happiness would equal and what I had now, and I'm trying to become inspired and create and empower from that perspective, I just wasn't. So I figured out what you're talking about when you say that happiness comes from within. And when I say that I'm a belief strategist, I had to find something that I believed in, truly believed in, that not only was believable, but it made me feel good. So to have the idea about money, if you look at it differently, can give you a good feeling and you can feel good about it no matter how much you have or don't or want or don't want. I think my issue with not having it for so long and looking at the world and seeing how they used it and abused it, it gave me I was a little bit intimidated. And we started this episode, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I didn't know where the whole money thing was gonna go or how I was gonna feel about it and how I was gonna respond to all these things. But there's a sense of ease in knowing that we can create ideas that are worth pursuing from our perspective that we really love and enjoy doing. So my fear, anxiety with money, I don't have to have that anymore. I can use the same formula of finding thoughts inside my head that are worth pursuing, to be passionate about, and then truly believe that I can pursue this life that also includes that energy that I'm going to accept in a way that I want to, that empowers me. Right. So good, man. Good. Thumbs up, dude.
When you look at this, but everything you just talked about, Coach D, that was your personal thought process on the topic. That was it. It was just, this is how you perceive the game. What vantage point are we looking at the game? Are we looking at it from an empowering and an abundance and a significance and a giving way? Are we looking at it from a guilt and condemnation and shame and lack and scarcity? So that right there that you're talking about, you're identifying, the only thing that shifted is your own personal belief and thought about the topic, right? So that's the best part. As people, we get to choose. We have the freedom of choice. Our jobs here is to encourage people to look at it in an empowering way, to be inspired about it, to go out and create more money and empower other people. Come on.
That's what you want. And I think that having the idea of options and knowing that you're the one in charge of your own happiness, and happiness involves certain resources. And if you utilize your energy and resources in the right way, then you can empower yourself to have this amazing life and to be able to have means at your fingertips. So let's wrap this up. Jamara, I wanna start with where we began this whole conversation. I want just give me a few bullets that I can take away from here, because I know I'm poking you about next week and the how, but at the same, since you're not going to give that to me tonight, I would like it if you kind of just just go over what we talked about and give us some stuff to think about before we get into the final episode of this series next week.
When you look at the black and red, right? Black and red is positive and negative, income, the money coming in, and expenses going out. I think we as a society, no one is teaching us to understand this aspect of the money game, right? That no one is teaching us, okay, we really need to understand the power of income and the power of expenses, the power of living in profit, and the power of living, in when we are overextended, when we are over leveraged, when we are living in the red, when we have too many liabilities. You think about it right now, Coach D, and if you're living anywhere in society today, and I'm not talking about someone living out in the forest, eating off the land, and they built their own fort, and they hunt their food, and they dig their well for their water. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who live in society today. What can we do in society that does not require us to have some type of financial ability?
You got to do something.
Right, and that's the challenge right now. So the very first step is understanding, okay, first, how do I create more income? How do I create more income? As people, we go, oh, I'm going to trim this, and I'm going to trim that, I'm going to trim this. Why don't we focus on, hey, how can I increase? How can I make more? How can I create more? As I guess some of my clients is actually just last week, I sat down with her, and she makes, decent amount of income, almost over 200,000 a year. And she has almost 200,000 a year going out. And she's like, when she saw her numbers, she was like, what, man, I didn't even realize that I had that much going out, because she made the money. But now her challenge was the spending. So the first step is like, yeah, let's make the money. But then even if we make the money, if we don't understand that we still have to improve our habit on the spending, we can spend all we make. I mean, if you make $2,000 a month and you spend $2,100, you're in the red. If you make $200,000 a month and you spend $210,000 a month, you're in the red. Like, it's not the money.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. In conclusion, create. How are we going to use this energy to create? Give me some ideas that we're going to, that aren't necessarily how, but just idea wise. How can we create ideas in our mind that are going to serve us a little bit better, that we're going to move away from the they and a little bit more towards the I am, so that we can support that perspective and share it with the world? How can we do that?
Okay, look at this here. So you can't see this all. Actually, it's page 93. Look at this, page 93. It says 3 practical options to get your cash flow unstuck. That's why you got to get the book.
Hey, when do we get to go on his boat? Look, man, I'm gonna tell you what. It better be accessible. I will report him. I swear to God.
Man, hey, listen here. This right here is accessible to anyone on Amazon, but through our platform, anyone wants to connect with us and sit down and talk more about the money game, we can give this away for free. Like we have that kind of inventory, Coach D. Now that we do, that we can give this away for free for those who want to connect to us on the personal level, or they can just go and Amazon for $17 and buy it. But to answer your question, on page 93, it talks about 3 practical ways to get your cash flow unstuck. And we're going to talk more about that next week. We're going to cover the how-to, babe.
Look, stop. Let's tie this up, man. Let's talk about happiness. We'd be ashamed if we didn't. How can we utilize money to be able to empower us to be happy?
I think majority of most people are good people. I think most of us, in our spirit and our heart, we want to help other people. We want to give to other people. You know what makes me feel good is when I give, when I can give so much, when I can just give, when that makes me feel good. And I know a lot of people feel good when they can give to other people. And so once we understand the more that we have, it's not just for us to hoard, but the more resources that we have, the more we can empower and help other people, which is going to create even more happiness, not just for them, but for us. And so just having that servant leader heart, that servant giver's heart, always finding ways and looking for ways to help other people. And money doesn't fix all issues, but I'm telling you right now, money can definitely help a lot of things out there. A lot of things are stuck and hindered because they don't have the financial resources. So the happiness part, man, once we give, and it doesn't matter if we're giving $1, 1,000, or 100,000. I think that's what inside of our heart makes us feel really good is when we're helping other people, when we're giving, when we're giving to someone who's in need. And I think that helps us feel good when it's coming from a good place. So
look, man, I know you agree with this too, that you're not going to do something if you don't believe in it. And I think that what this episode did for me, at least personally, was it helped me turn a thought that I knew was there into more of an emotion. And I feel like that's the fuel to create things. You can have thoughts all day long, you can go to seminars, this and that, but until you start feeling the energy of being in that moment or that idea, it's really hard to create. So tonight, as I heard you talk about these different things, I really started to believe that the thoughts that I have in my mind are seriously accomplishable. And I can take this happiness that I've developed with these thoughts that I had about they, and I can put the they aside and move forward with this energy that I can create with. And I am now empowered in a way that I've gone from flipping certain thoughts that were red onto either off or now they're green, because I see opportunity in the moment. I see that as we continue to reshape how we want to see this life, we're going to have to do it from a handful of different perspectives, from the mind, the body, and the soul. I think that we can no longer look past the idea that money is a currency that we can all be in communion with if we are able to change the way that we think about it. I think it's a good thing, and that nobody should feel guilty about doing well and achieving and being able to share. Somebody told me, listen, if you want to donate $1 million, you got to make $1 million first. So make it and then donate it. But I think as we start to become more empowered and figuring out who we are on the inside, as we start to find out what makes us happy from the inside out, we will be able to share more abundantly with all of our resources. And I think it's super important that we do that now, because honestly, that's what feels good. Cheating and theying and waiting around for something to happen, like, that's a coin flip. I think that it feels good to achieve in abundance together. So it's now time to put the money game into play. And I hope everybody tunes in next week so that we can discuss how to do that. And Jamar, I had a good time today. Did you have a good time?
Man, I had a great time, and this is on my heart to share with you, Coach D. I truly believe that when the abundance comes, where it's going to come so much and so fast, that you're going to help so many people, man. Like you're gonna lift up so many people. You're gonna empower so many people. You're gonna give to so many people, because that's your heart. And so, man,
thank you for this opportunity, man. I'm grateful that you're my partner in this. I'm grateful that my best friend, my wife, can participate in a way that she's a superhero. In case you guys didn't know, she's the one that does all the bells and whistles, and this is the role she likes to play. She puts on her mask and her cape and sits over there, and I get to be the talking head. So honestly, this is just a really cool opportunity to learn and grow with you, Jamar, and everybody that's watching, and my wife. And this has been cool, man. I don't know how this is going to unfold, but I'm really inspired to continue to push myself to move forward with vulnerability, and I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. Boom! Next week we're going to cover more the nuts and bolts of more of the how to actual action steps that people can implement on their own and take action to really embark on the journey of learning the money game. And this is my challenge to you, Coach D, is I want to encourage you to make sure that you start every day affirming yourself of the wealthy man that you're going to become. And
The
that's
wealthy
my
man that I
challenge.
am, Jamar. Come on now.
Bam! Come
That's
on.
it.
That was a
Okay.
test. That was a test.
All right, I'm ready, baby. Hey, Jamar, I got a question for you. Are you vested?
Man, I'm vested, baby. You know,
All right, man.
I'm vested. You know, hey, here's the question for our vested community. Are you vested? You know, next week we'll be back, same time, same channel, wrapping up the money game. Hey, Coach D, I love you, bro.
Love you too, man. That was a lot of fun. Wifey, Rebecca, I love
Yes. Tech team.
you. Tech team, baby.
Tech
Woo!
team. One day there will be a huge tech team. Hey, we're moving and shaking. Here's the question for you, vested community. Are you vested? You know,
Hey,
what are you
that's the
doing?
challenge. Figure
What are you
out
doing?
how and join the community. So far each week we're getting more and more people joining. It's an exciting experience. It's not just sitting in front of a camera in my room. Once we air these episodes, I'm having good conversations with people about serious issues. So everybody that's out there that's listening and that's going to watch us recorded or not, hey, thanks for supporting us. And this is only going to get bigger. And this is a community event. So I'm inspired. We create. We empower. Jamal invested. Wrap this up for us.
Hey, wrap it up. Remember, vested is a mindset. You know, for us to do anything of greatness in life, we must be vested. And we just encourage you, whatever you do in your life, be vested, be all in, give it all you got, maximum effort, and let's help some people. Let's change some lives, and let's impact generations to come. We'll see you.